Yo, what's up, guys? Will, personal trainer here, back again. Got my hair cut, a little nicer, better cut. I'm here to talk about novice strength standards, novice cutting, and novice bulking. So I wanted to tell you guys today a few things. Okay, so first one I want to tell you, is it possible for a novice lifter to cut and put on muscle and strength at the same time? Number two is, if that is possible, how long can they do it? How long should they do it? And number three is, if you can't, what should you do? So just to re-clarify, this video is applying to novice lifters, okay? And I would classify a novice lifter in general. Of course, it varies by age and weight. If you are a man and you have not squatted 315, deadlifted 400, and bench pressed 225, you are most likely a novice lifter. If you're a woman and you have not deadlifted 225, squatted 200 pounds, and bench pressed 115 pounds, you are most likely a novice lifter still. So obviously, I'm a personal trainer at a public gym, so I deal with almost exclusively novice lifters. And of course, I have taken people from their novice phase to their intermediate stage and so on. And I will tell you that it is entirely 100% possible for someone to potentially make it through their entire novice phase while in a caloric deficit. But of course, they have to be at a higher body fat percentage initially for that to happen. I would say if you're between 20 and 30% body fat, it's entirely possible for you to make it through the majority of your novice phase, whether it be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months of losing weight while in a caloric deficit. Even then, if you are not at that body fat percentage, let's say you're 15 to 20, that you could cut for a large amount of time, let's say like 3 months, and during that entire 3 months, I would say the average is on 4, you could put on muscle and strength at the same time. And if you are between 15 and 20 and or 15 and above, I 100% recommend starting out with a cut, whether it be 5 pounds, 10 pounds, 15 pounds, 20 pounds, whatever it is that you need to lose. The majority of that time you are cutting, you will be putting on size and strength. Now here's the problem that novice lifters run into. If you are starting out in the 20 to 30% body fat range, obviously losing weight is not going to be the easiest thing for you, or whether it's hard, difficult, whatever, it's going to be a little bit of a challenge. So this is the problem that novice lifters run into, is that they will be going through the novice phase fine, and they'll have several hiccups on the diet aspect. So of course, if you're getting coached or if you're getting trained by someone who knows what they're doing, you're going to be making good strength gains, you're going to be making good muscle gains, everything like that. On the exact path, that a typical novice program will offer. And if you have hiccups on the diet side, that is going to extend the amount of time that you're going to have to be in your novice phase for, because eventually there will come a time, 100%, that if you are not in a caloric surplus, you are not going to make gains. And if you do make gains when you're at caloric maintenance, it's going to be extremely slow and not necessarily even worth the time training. Let's say that someone who's at 25% body fat has a goal of losing 20 pounds, okay? And they achieve that goal over 6 months. I'd say if you're 20% body fat and you were losing 20 pounds, you have a good 3 or 4 months of in that caloric deficit to where you will be making gains at the same time as losing weight. But if you have several hiccups and it turns that 6 month goal turns into an 8 month goal, that is 2 whole months, in fact 4 whole months where you are making no gains, and instead of 2 months of no gains, it turns into 4 months of no gains, and your time gets wasted, and you have to extend the amount of time that you're dieting for, which is going to wear on you mentally, it's going to wear on you physically. So it's very important, if you are a novice lifter and you decide to cut, which I recommend for most novice lifters because most people are overweight, that you are staying on track and that you are not, binge eating and having weight gain, or you're not, forgetting about your caloric deficit, or you're not taking weeks off diets, or you're not, being focused or staying disciplined at all, because there will be a point where you're going to make 0 gains if you are still concerned about your diet and losing weight and you are having several hiccups. It's not possible for someone passing, especially if they're on the lower body fat end, say 20 to 15, to train for a very long amount of time and have several hiccups and eat a caloric maintenance and deficit sometimes and surplus sometimes to make any gains at all. It's going to be not worth your time, and it's going to be very frustrating. So if you're on the higher body fat percentage range, let's say 20 to 30% and above, and you decide not to cut, it is a huge waste of your time, because you will finish your novice phase most likely on caloric maintenance, which is entirely possible, and I've had people do. And then you will come to a point where you have to get in a caloric surplus to gain muscle and gain strength, or you will have very, very slow gains at maintenance. And you're going to be looking at yourself and you're going to say, oh, I am a very high body fat percentage, I'm very uncomfortable with this. If I get into a surplus, I'm just going to be putting on more fat, of course, along with muscle, and that's going to make me even more uncomfortable. If you're going to go into a caloric surplus, which is required to make gains past a certain point, you need to be at a leanness that you're comfortable with putting body fat on. If you're at 30% body fat, chances are you're not going to be comfortable going from 30% body fat to 33% or 34%, even if it means that you're making muscle and strength gains. And the last thing I want to touch on is if you are on a low body fat percentage range, which is athletic and optimal range to be at 10 to 15% body fat, and you have abs showing, you have veins popping, everything like that, and you are a novice lifter, so very, very skinny, untrained, whatever, it is not advisable whatsoever to go into a cut. 10 to 15% body fat, don't cut. You want to either be at caloric maintenance for the first month or two, or you want to start a very small surplus. Anytime I talk about a caloric surplus, if you're a natural lifter, I mean it's got to be half a pound a week or less, okay? First year, half a pound a week is perfectly great, okay? After your first year, you definitely want to keep that lower. Or if you wasted some gains your first year, you can keep it there, whatever. If you are 10 to 15% body fat, and you are a novice lifter and you're just starting, you need to get in a slight caloric surplus, or your gains are going to be very, very slow, and you're going to get frustrated for how slow they are. You will put on some body fat, but that's just what comes with the territory. Alright guys, so that's it about novice lifters and weight gain. If you are between 15% and 30% body fat, you always want to start off with a cut. If you are between 10 to 15% body fat, you want to start off in a bulk. And you have to make sure if you are starting a cut that you do not extend the amount of time necessary for cutting, so you eventually, when you reach the phase where you have to be in a surplus, you are not at too high of a body fat percentage and have to keep cutting and have slow gains. Alright guys, peace out.